Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore Indian biodiversity, focusing on some of the most important biodiversity hotspots and biosphere reserves. In this presentation, we'll take a closer look at the rich natural heritage of India, the unique ecosystems it hosts, and the efforts to conserve these vital areas. So, let's get started and discover the incredible biodiversity that makes India truly special. Biological diversity, or biodiversity, refers to the variety of living organisms found all around us. This includes creatures from terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystems, as well as the ecological systems they are part of. When we talk about diversity, we're looking at three key levels: within species, between different species, and among entire ecosystems. This concept is fundamental because it highlights how rich and complex life on Earth truly is. Understanding biodiversity is crucial as we explore ways to protect and sustain our planet's natural resources. It reminds us that preserving this diversity is essential for maintaining healthy ecosystems and, ultimately, our own well-being. The term biological diversity was first introduced by wildlife scientist and conservationist Raymond F. Dasman back in 1968. This was a significant moment because it helped shape how we think about the variety of life on Earth. Then, in 1985, it's believed that W.G. Rosen, another conservation scientist, might have coined the actual word biodiversity. This term quickly gained traction because it captures the richness of life forms across the planet. The first recorded use of the word biodiversity in a publication came in 1988, when entomologist Edward Osborne William applied it in his work. These milestones are important because they mark the evolution of how we understand and communicate about the incredible variety of life that we're all responsible for conserving. It's a key part of the overall theme today, which is recognizing the importance of protecting our planet's biological diversity. Let's talk about biodiversity hotspots. A biodiversity hotspot is essentially a biogeographic region that harbors a significant reservoir of biodiversity, but it's also under serious threat from human activities. To be classified as a hotspot, a region must meet two key criteria based on Myers' 2000 hotspot map. First, it has to contain at least 0.5% of the world's vascular plant species as endemics. This means that a considerable proportion of unique plant species are found only in that region. Second, the area must have experienced substantial habitat loss, specifically losing at least 70% of its primary vegetation. These criteria help us identify regions that are not only rich in unique biodiversity, but also highly vulnerable. Recognizing these hotspots is crucial because it highlights areas where conservation efforts are most needed to preserve our planet's incredible diversity. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's take a closer look at how hotspots, bioregions, and protected areas are interconnected. Hotspots are essentially regions that harbor a high number of endemic species and face significant threats from human activities. These areas are incredibly important because they represent the most urgent conservation priorities. Moving from hotspots, we then focus on bioregions, which are large-scale ecological zones that share similar environmental conditions and biodiversity characteristics. By understanding bioregions, we can better target our conservation efforts on a regional scale, ensuring that strategies are tailored to the specific ecological context. Finally, protected areas are the tangible spaces where we implement conservation measures. These can be national parks, reserves, or other designated zones. The idea is that by identifying hotspots within bioregions and establishing protected areas there, we maximize our impact in preserving biodiversity. This layered approach, hotspots, bioregions, protected areas, helps us systematically prioritize and act more effectively to safeguard our planet's rich biological diversity. Now, let's talk about threatened species and their habitats. When we look at areas that are developing, such as certain regions labeled as PA, we see that development often puts pressure on these ecosystems. This highlights the importance of protecting biodiversity hotspots, which are areas rich in unique species and ecological significance. These hotspots often overlap with traditional indigenous lands, which are crucial because they harbor co-evolved human cultures that have lived sustainably alongside nature for generations. Recognizing this connection emphasizes how important it is to conserve these areas not just for the plants and animals, but also for the cultural heritage tied to them. However, protecting these hotspots comes with a cost. According to Conservation International, the estimated expense to preserve each hotspot is about $160 per year. While this might seem like a significant investment, it's vital for maintaining biodiversity and supporting the cultural landscapes that are intertwined with these regions. Overall, safeguarding these areas requires understanding their ecological and cultural value, and recognizing the financial commitment needed to keep them thriving for future generations. Now, let's take a closer look at one of India's key biodiversity hotspots, the Western Ghats. Originally, this region spanned about 182,500 square kilometers, making it a vast and vital ecological zone. However, today, only around 12,445 square kilometers of it remains, which is roughly 6.8% of the original area. Despite this reduction, a small but significant portion, about 6.8%, still retains pristine, undisturbed forests. This area is incredibly important because it's home to several endangered species, including the Asian elephant and the Indian tiger. These majestic creatures rely on the rich, diverse habitats of the Western Ghats for their survival. Additionally, the lion-tailed macaque, another endangered species, also inhabits this region, highlighting its critical role in conserving India's biodiversity. Connecting this to our overall theme, the Western Ghats exemplify both the richness and the vulnerability of India's ecological hotspots. Protecting these areas is essential, not only for preserving unique species, but also for maintaining ecological balance. Now, let's focus on the biodiversity in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. These regions are characterized by their moist deciduous forests and rainforests, which create ideal conditions for a rich variety of plant and animal life. In fact, there are around 6,000 vascular plant species here, and remarkably, approximately half of these are endemic, meaning they are found only in this specific area. A particularly important biodiversity hotspot is the Agasthyar Hills, where we see a high concentration of these species. Moving on to fauna, these regions are home to about 450 bird species, which is quite impressive. When it comes to mammals, there are around 140 species, showcasing significant diversity. Reptiles are also abundant, with approximately 260 species, and amphibians number around 176. An interesting point to note is that reptiles and amphibians make up about 60% of the total vertebrate species in this region, highlighting their ecological significance. All of this underscores the incredible richness and uniqueness of the biodiversity in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, which is a vital part of the overall ecological mosaic of India. Let's talk about the Indo-Burma hotspot, which is part of the Eastern Himalayas. This region includes several countries with incredibly rich biodiversity. For instance, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos are all part of this hotspot, showcasing a wide variety of ecosystems. It also encompasses the entire areas of Thailand, Myanmar, and Bhutan, highlighting how expansive and important this zone is. Additionally, parts of Nepal and the far eastern regions of India fall into this area, along with extreme southern China. What makes this hotspot so significant is the diversity of habitats it contains, from tropical forests to mountain ranges. It's a critical area for conservation because it supports many unique species found nowhere else on Earth. This region's importance ties into our overall theme of biodiversity hotspots, areas that need our urgent attention to preserve their incredible natural heritage. When a species or habitat is in a threatened condition, it means it's facing significant risks that could lead to its decline or even extinction. This status highlights that the population numbers are decreasing, or their natural environment is deteriorating at a concerning rate. It's a warning sign that immediate conservation efforts are needed to prevent further decline. Understanding what it means to be threatened helps us grasp the urgency of protecting these species and habitats. It's not just about numbers, it's about maintaining biodiversity and the health of our ecosystems, which are interconnected and vital for the overall well-being of our planet. Throughout this presentation, we've seen how different factors contribute to threats, whether they're human activities, climate change, or habitat destruction. Recognizing when something is threatened is the first step toward taking action to preserve it for future generations. Now, let's take a look at the high species richness in this region. The overall number of species ranges from about 15,000 to 25,000, which indicates a significant level of biodiversity. When we break it down further, mammals account for around 400 species, which is quite diverse, but still just a fraction of the total. Birds, on the other hand, are particularly abundant here, with approximately 12,000 species, highlighting their dominance in this ecosystem. Reptiles are represented by about 500 species, and amphibians number around 300. What's especially notable is that the freshwater biodiversity remains quite limited, or in other words, very poor compared to terrestrial and avian life. This contrast underscores the importance of protecting these habitats because, despite the high overall species richness, freshwater ecosystems are still quite vulnerable and underrepresented in terms of biodiversity. So, in the context of our overall presentation, these figures emphasize just how rich and complex this region's biodiversity is. But they also remind us that some habitats, like freshwater systems, need more attention and conservation efforts to improve their biodiversity status. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's talk about the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These islands are recognized globally for their ecological significance and are included in the WWF Global Zoo list, highlighting their importance for conservation. They boast a remarkable 92% coverage of mangroves and coral reefs, which are essential for protecting coastlines and supporting marine biodiversity. The islands also have about 92% forest cover, making them a haven for various plant and animal species. In fact, they are home to around 2,500 plant species, with approximately 14% being endemic, meaning they are found nowhere else in the world. This high level of endemism underscores the unique biodiversity of these islands. When we look at fauna, about 9% of the species are endemic, and the islands host diverse groups like amphibians, reptiles, and insects. Specifically, there are 9 species of amphibians and 31 reptile species. Additionally, the butterfly population is quite rich, with around 214 species recorded. Overall, these figures highlight the rich biodiversity and ecological importance of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, reinforcing the need for ongoing conservation efforts to protect this unique environment. This ties directly into our broader theme of preserving vital ecosystems worldwide. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's take a closer look at the main reasons behind the loss of diversity in these hotspots. First, habitat destruction is a major factor. When natural environments are cleared or degraded, many species lose their homes and sources of food, making survival difficult. Next, we have resource mismanagement, which includes overexploitation and poor planning that can deplete essential resources, putting additional stress on wildlife populations. Poaching is another critical issue. Illegal hunting and trading can wipe out entire species or severely reduce their numbers. Lastly, climate change is increasingly impacting these regions, altering habitats and life cycles, and making it even harder for species to adapt. All of these factors are interconnected and highlight the urgent need for effective conservation efforts to preserve the rich biodiversity in these hotspots. Let's talk about the biosphere reserves of India. Biosphere reserves, or BRs, are essentially protected areas that showcase the rich natural and cultural landscapes we have in the country. They are large, representative areas that extend across terrestrial, coastal, or marine ecosystems, or sometimes a mix of these. The idea is to preserve the diversity of life and the cultural heritage within these zones. These reserves serve as examples of different biogeographic zones or provinces, helping us understand and conserve the variety of ecosystems found across India. Currently, we have 14 biosphere reserves in India, each playing a vital role in conservation, research, and sustainable development. Understanding these reserves helps us appreciate how India is actively working to protect its natural heritage while balancing human needs and ecological health. They are key to our overall environmental strategy and demonstrate our commitment to preserving biodiversity for future generations. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. In 1972, UNESCO launched a very important initiative called the Man and the Biosphere. This program was designed to promote a better understanding of the complex relationships between humans and the natural environment. It marked a significant step forward in global efforts to protect biodiversity while also considering sustainable development. This initiative is key to our overall theme today, as it highlights how international collaboration can help us balance human needs with environmental preservation. By establishing biosphere reserves, UNESCO encouraged countries to create models of sustainable interaction with nature that can be shared and learned from around the world. Now, let's talk about the functions of BR, which include conservation, development, and logistic support. The primary goal here is to conserve the incredible diversity and integrity of plants and animals within their natural ecosystems. This means protecting these ecosystems from threats and ensuring that the delicate balance is maintained. Another key function is safeguarding the genetic diversity of species. This genetic variation is crucial because it underpins the ongoing evolution of species, helping them adapt to changing environments and resist diseases. By focusing on these functions, we're not just preserving nature for its own sake, but also ensuring that ecosystems continue to thrive and support life, including human life, now and into the future. This ties into the overall theme of sustainable development and responsible stewardship of our natural resources. Let's take a moment to look at some of the key goals we're aiming for with this project. First, we want to ensure the sustainable use of natural resources. This means selecting the most appropriate technology that not only benefits the environment, but also helps improve the economic well-being of the local people. It's about finding that balance where development doesn't come at the expense of our natural resources. Next, we need to create spaces and facilities that support multifaceted research and ongoing monitoring. This is crucial because it allows us to continuously assess the impact of our interventions, adapt as needed, and ensure we're on the right track. Finally, providing facilities for education and training is essential. Equipping the local community with knowledge and skills empowers them to manage resources responsibly and participate actively in their own development. All these points tie together into a broader vision, fostering sustainable growth, encouraging ongoing learning, and ensuring that the benefits reach the people most directly impacted. This holistic approach is vital for achieving long-term success in our efforts. Now, let's look at some of the potential sites for biosphere reserves as identified by the Ministry of Forests and Environment. These sites are quite diverse, reflecting the rich variety of India's ecosystems. We have Namdapha in Arunachal Pradesh, which is known for its lush forests and incredible biodiversity. Moving to the west, the Thar Desert in Rajasthan showcases a different kind of ecosystem, desert landscapes that support unique flora and fauna adapted to arid conditions. Then there's the little Rann of Kutch in Gujarat, famous for its salt flats and migratory bird populations. In Kerala, Kavalam is recognized for its coastal ecosystems and vibrant aquatic life. Kanha in Madhya Pradesh is a renowned tiger reserve, representing the critical importance of conserving large mammals and their habitats. Lastly, the North Islands of the Andaman and Nicobar are vital for their pristine marine ecosystems and rich biodiversity. These sites highlight the diverse ecological zones India aims to protect through biosphere reserves, aligning with our broader goal of sustainable conservation and environmental stewardship. Let's take a quick tour through some of India's most unique and diverse regions. First up, we have a Bajmar in Chhattisgarh. This area is known for its dense forests and rich tribal culture, making it a vital part of India's biodiversity and heritage. Moving south, we come to Chintapalli in Andhra Pradesh, which is famous for its lush greenery and scenic landscapes, offering a glimpse into the state's natural beauty. Next, we have the Lakshadweep Islands, a stunning archipelago in the Arabian Sea. These islands are celebrated for their pristine beaches and vibrant marine life, highlighting India's island diversity. We also can't forget the Blue Mountain of Mizoram, a breathtaking sight with its striking blue-hued peaks, symbolizing the scenic beauty of northeastern India. Finally, we look at Tawang and West Kameng in Arunachal Pradesh, regions known for their majestic mountains, monasteries, and cultural richness. All these places underscore the incredible geographical diversity of India, which is a key theme in understanding the country's vast natural and cultural landscape. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really appreciate your engagement and interest in the topics we've covered. Remember, the key points we've discussed highlight the importance of understanding the core concepts and how they connect to the bigger picture. This presentation aims to equip you with the insights needed to apply these ideas effectively in your work. If you take away anything, I hope it's the confidence to implement these strategies and continue to explore and learn. Once again, thank you for being such a great audience.